Hello and welcome to another edition of my Become Unstoppable series. And today I have the lovely Lauren with me. So Lauren, my love, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, hello. Thank you for having me here today, Julie. So my name's Lauren, and I am the new business development manager for NewsQuest, who publish papers across the UK and also Great British Life magazines. And I help trying to find new business for them, basically, in a nutshell.
Amazing. Yeah, and that's where we met, I think, at a networking event, wasn't it?
Yeah, the networking events are amazing, as you know, Julie, for business. They're so important. Building up your contacts and friends and relationships.
Absolutely. It's so important. Okay, so those who don't know me, I'm Julie Fitzpatrick. I'm the founder of Millieside Therapy and Coaching. And my passion really is saving lives. I've decided to change what I say now.
I like it.
Because effectively that's what I do, right? I help people who are stuck in life. They don't actually know what's really wrong with them. They know that they've got presenting issues like stress, anxious, overwhelmed. Maybe their body's not working well enough for them at the moment. But when they work with me, we go really deep. We go right deep into the subconscious mind, and I release them from things that they didn't even need to be released from. And I asked a couple of my clients this week, actually. I said, if I asked you what I did for you, that's what one of them said. You freed me of feelings and emotions that I didn't even know I needed freedom from, but were obviously really holding them back. So yeah,
That's nice.
So yeah, it's good. So I save lives.
I love that.
So before we start, Lauren, I would like to know, what does being unstoppable mean to you?
Wow. It can mean so many things, can't it? But to me personally, it's about being in that place of your life where you have achieved everything, I guess, mentally, psychologically, where you feel you could be at that point of time. And you know now all the things that you needed to know. You put all those tools together and everything. And you know that no one's going to bring you down now. You are at the place where you need to be. And mentally, you are feeling unstoppable. And that is where I am, which is amazing.
Woo-hoo! Go girl, go girl. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And obviously, that was my unstoppable motto came about by accident. I think I don't know how it came about now, but it is. I really like it. What does being unstoppable? We all want to be unstoppable, don't we? We don't want to be stuck. We want to move from being stuck to unstoppable. Yeah, and I like it. I like it a lot. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
But I'm guessing that you haven't always been in that space of unstoppableness.
No. No, not at all. I think I've spent most of my life being stoppable, actually. Yeah, definitely. It's been a tough slog, for sure.
So give us a little bit of a backdrop then on, how you end up doing what you're doing. And we'll find out a little bit more about what you're doing in a little while. But I'm not really interested in how you're clearly unstoppable and you're shouting that from the rooftops, which is amazing. But what's gone in your life really that you felt that you was stoppable, but now you're unstoppable?
Well, let's just cover the last year, I think, at the moment, because that's where the biggest change has been for me. So just over a year ago, I think it was last June now, my husband and I ended our relationship. And at the time, obviously, it was the worst thing in the world. I actually worked in healthcare for 10 years before where I am now. And I was working as a care coordinator. And I was sort of quite near the end of my probation period with them. Everything was going great. But I've struggled with my mental health for as long as I can remember. Anxiety and depression being a massive thing, which I know is huge with everybody. And we're so lucky that it's not such a taboo anymore. And with people like yourself doing the therapies that you do, people are able to come forward and discuss that and chat about it in environments that perhaps weren't available to them before. So I lost my husband due to the mental health. I lost my job. I didn't pass my probation because I had too much time off. Yeah, and along with that, I had two kids to look after from another relationship, but that's another story. Yeah, obviously having to, move, and I was in a really, really, really dark place a year ago. Everything was awful. It was dark. I couldn't see a way forward, mentally and physically. I've also got fibromyalgia, which I was diagnosed with about 7 years ago, and that can make you stoppable, definitely, mentally and physically. So I was in a really, really bad place. In my spare time, I ride a motorbike, which I love. And I was very lucky. I had a lot of friends that I made on the motorbike scene that kind of carried me through. Took a lot of time off over Christmas and the end of last year to try and sort of find myself, what I want to do with my life, where I want to go, and I guess more importantly, who I want to be. Having gone through so much therapy in the past, and obviously having met yourself and all the amazing conversations we've had, and all the, get up and go, you're unstoppable, girl, coming from yourself. I needed all of that. And I turned 42, when was it now? About a month ago-ish. But yeah, last sort of February time, I sort of thought, I need to start looking for work again. And I applied for more sort of part-time healthcare jobs, that sort of thing. And I saw the job advertised where I am now. And I remember sitting there with my best friend saying, oh, it's high pressured and it's stressful and it's full time. And can I go back and do that again? Am I strong enough to do that? And she said, oh, just apply and, let fate decide. And then at the same sort of time, social media and Tinder, obviously Tinder's been around for a long time. But I thought,
You discovered it.
I discovered Tinder at the ripe old age of 41. Why not? And I met the most incredible, amazing man, who's just everything I've ever wanted. And with his love and support, and with my parents' love and support, and my friends and family's love and support, and your love and support, Julie, I went for that job interview. I went for 3 job interviews. I got the job. And I haven't looked back. Since March this year, I have not looked back. I am finally who I'm supposed to be, where I'm supposed to be. Damn right, unstoppable.
Good girl, I like that. Yeah, that's really good. While we're on the topic of, before I forget to go back to it, on the topic of your work, what is it you're actually doing right now?
So originally when I was brought in to work on newspaper sales for the Southend Resident Echo, the Colchester Gazette, and sort of other North Essex newspapers. And then they kind of threw the Brighton Argus at me as well. I think that's part of our region. I'm not sure why, but it is. So yeah, newspaper subscriptions and trying to get the support of the local community to subscribe to getting the newspaper delivered at home again. That went sort of okay. And then I set up a new campaign called Love Local Business, but we can talk about that a bit later. And I think that was another reason why we met, was at the networking event with regards to the Love Local Business campaign that I set up. And that was going quite well. And then my manager kind of said to me, hey, we want you to add Essex Life magazine to your portfolio. That was going really well. And then they threw Kent Life magazine and Sussex Life magazine at me as well. So I'm busy. But looking at non-traditional retail outlets for the magazine. So I've got some gorgeous hotels on board. Greenswood Manor Hotel, the Holiday Inn, Champneys Resort in Kent, gorgeous hotel in Sussex. So yeah, it's all going very well. We're keeping me very busy.
Good. You've been a bit of a victim of your own success then, by the sounds of it.
It was kind of one of those things, I think, isn't it? When you start to do well, everyone kind of goes, oh, Lauren can do that, Lauren can do that. And sort of every week in my meetings, my manager's saying, by the way, would you mind doing this? But I'm loving it. I love the job. I've settled into it really, really well. The team are fantastic. The company's great. And it's probably the first time in my life where I've actually felt like I'm actually succeeding. I passed my probation a couple of months ago, which was brilliant, because although I've had many different roles, my mental health has taken a toll on a lot of my jobs.
Mm,
And, they haven't lasted as long as I'd wanted them to. So for me to pass that probation and be so successful in the role that I'm doing has made me feel, so proud of myself for
mm.
getting to where I am, which I know sounds a bit sad at my age.
It's not.
Um,
It's not sad at all, Lauren, right? I was 52 before I even started on this journey.
yeah, yeah,
So I'm sorry, 42, phew, drop in
yeah,
the ocean. But this is the thing, right? Age is just about a number, right?
yeah, it's true. It's true.
I mean, I don't believe in having regrets because, well, it's pointless anyway, for a
Yeah,
start.
for sure.
But also, I think sometimes that's just part of your journey anyway, and that's, well, not sometimes, that's part of your journey. But the only thing I do, if I was allowed to have a regret, it would be that I didn't know the things I know now back then,
Yes.
because I think I would have been. I feel like I'm unstoppable now, but I feel like I could have been unstoppable a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's, as you say, it's not a regret, is it? It's
It's annoyance.
annoying. Yeah, for sure. But then you look at where you are now and you just think, wow, and it's just, it's such an incredible journey that you've gone on, that I've gone on, that thousands of women have gone on. And what you do with these interviews and getting women to be able to come forward and go, this is what I've achieved, and what you help them with all your different therapies and coaching. What an amazing thing for you to go away with as well at the end of the day.
It's not just women, by the way. Men can come on here too.
And men as well.
But it
Yeah,
does predominantly seem to be women for some reason. But
yeah. Come
I do
on,
need
boys.
to. Yes. So, is there any men out there who feel like you are unstoppable, or women? Doesn't matter, because I need some more people now. I'm running out now. I've run out on my list. Come on, if you've got an unstoppable story, please come and share it, because when you hear other people being inspirational, it gives you that little kick up the backside, doesn't it? Especially if you
Absolutely.
really relate to that person. Anyone out there who's thinking, oh, like I'm 40, 50, 60, I can't do it's rubbish. You can. You can do anything you set your
Absolutely.
mind to. I mean, admittedly, you can't always go and do that on your own, and you do need to come and see someone like myself.
Yeah.
But why not? And I'm I'm finding it more and more interesting the more I kind of get, the more clients I get, because
Mm.
I seem to be attracting now more of the complex cases, in the sense
Oh,
that many of them now are saying that I've tried traditional therapy, I've done it for years and it didn't really work for me. Now, I'm not knocking it, because I trained as a counsellor, so I'm not knocking it, and everything has its place and everything like that. But sometimes you just need that little bit more. And when I work with my clients, I'm going really, really deep. And over the last few days, I've had some amazing sessions that
wow.
I've got to be careful what I say, but
Yeah, of course.
things are coming up now, and I'm sitting there going, oh my goodness! We've got people coming up with trapped feelings and emotions that they collected, if you like, when they were conceived, because we can,
Yeah,
at the point of conception, we can take on our parents' emotions and feelings, and they've been carrying around that fear all their
yeah.
life. It wasn't even theirs, right? I've had one that was holding on to, I can't remember what the emotion was now, but it wasn't even her emotion. It was her mum's, but it was
Wow.
her mum's emotion when her mum was 4 years of age.
Wow.
And I'm
And
like,
this is the excitement about what you do, though, because people come to you thinking they have this one sort of issue, and they don't realize, and of course you don't realize either, when you're meeting them, actually how much further it all goes, and actually
mm,
how much there is to explore, and how much further you can help them,
yeah,
and not just
yeah,
on that one little thing. Because having been in therapy myself, and that it's just like a snowball effect. It's like one of those brainstorms, isn't it? So you've
mm,
got your little circle with your one word in it, and then there's like hundreds of other words that go along
yeah,
with
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. I can't think what
Yeah,
the word is
exactly.
now. Yeah. But yeah, that's very true, because they might come to me because they're anxious or stressed, or any of it really. confidence is a big thing as well, lack of
Yeah,
confidence.
for
But
sure.
actually, when you go, like you say, when you go down deep, it'll quite often be something that they didn't really expect.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so powerful. And yeah, and it's like they got, I mean, I did have one client crying, sobbing in happiness, going, "You saved my life." That's why I started saying, I'll save
Yeah,
lives. And I'm like, it's a good conversational starter anyway, isn't it? At a networking event.
absolutely.
What do you do? I'll save lives.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you? What do you do then? Because if I just say, like, oh, I'm a therapist and coach, they just glaze over.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
another
Yeah.
bloody coach or another counsellor or something. And I'm like, but I'm not. That's not what I do. I'm different, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's getting that out there, and I think a lot of these networking events, there's a lot of counselors that, we meet and therapists and things, but I think it's all very well training to do all of that. But then once you've gone to the stage where you're at, where you say, you are saving lives, and that feeling of accomplishment when somebody comes out of your sessions and has sort of turned around and said to you, wow, thank you. And, I owe a lot to, I mean, gosh, I've been in and out of therapy for years, but that's another story as well. Um, but there are small little things that you take away. And I've always
Mm,
found, even if it's just the one thing in each session that
mm.
you take away and remember and use, then that's made a big difference. And
What would be, can you remember any key ones that you think would be useful to share?
well, back in the day, um, they used to say, go to your happy place, find a safe place. One
Mm,
of my thing, I had a lot of anxiety issues. And even though I'm kind of not scared of the dark as such or sort of open space, I don't really have any phobias. But my happy sort of picture when I closed my eyes was on a warm day in autumn in a forest with the sun coming through and the leaves and just peace and quiet. And I used to use that a lot to kind of bring myself
mm,
back to, where I needed to be. Funny enough, actually, last year when I was going through everything I was going through, a friend of mine said, "Oh, you've got to try these meditation podcasts." And I've always been a bit of a, not really sure it's for me. But oh my goodness, it really does take your mind away from what is in it and
mm.
into what you're listening to. And they were just breathing exercises or, the relaxing music or the self affirmations. And I also think that, you get to an age where you sort of think, actually, no, the self affirmations are good. I am going to sit there and do that. And I've changed little things in my life. I'm also quite spiritual and quite religious. And, I pray every night without fail. I get into bed in my head, I say a little prayer. I just want to burst into song there. Say a little prayer. Sorry. It's my Mirandaism. Yeah. And, and I think you kind of accept that. And for me, and this is quite deep and personal, I guess, I didn't have a particularly wonderful childhood. Um, and I think I've always felt like a lost little girl. And
Mm.
whenever I've been in a situation, my fight or flight has always taken me back to that lost, frightened child. But the last 8 months, since everything has kind of, aligned, and I've become unstoppable, I feel like a woman. And I've not gone
That
back
feels like
to
another song, doesn't it? I
my
feel like a woman.
karaoke for the whole show. And it's such an amazing feeling to have let go of those
Mm,
things. And it just proves how much those childhood things and the background things and the things that people have lived with for all their lives or
I
years and
know.
years and years, you can switch it off. There is
Mm,
hope and you can
yeah,
change your mindset.
you can.
Yeah.
And that, like you were saying a minute ago about, when you get someone in front of you and they go, oh, they come for anxiety or whatever. And when I start having that short conversation, it's always like a free, like, clarity coaching call with them, to see if it's right for them and me. And as soon as they start telling me stuff, a bit like you've just done there, um, I'm like, okay, okay, I get that. Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah.
making it up now. This is not what I've just analysed about you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say something and I go, oh, okay, so you didn't have great. Oh, okay. Oh, right. So they've probably got the belief they're probably not lovable then, or and straight away, I'm like already not solving it, but I've got a really good idea of
Yeah,
what's going on,
absolutely.
right? And although everybody's got all this going on in their mind, actually, when it comes down to the crux of it, to the raw root of it, it's all very similar because it comes down to just a handful
Yeah,
of real beliefs, really. But
yeah,
when you've got a deep rooted belief about something, say your belief is I'm not good enough, that has such a huge impact on your life, right? So it will knock your confidence because it'll stop you from going for the interview or building your business or
yeah,
going out on that day or something like that. There's so many things it can impact just because your deep rooted belief is I'm not good enough. So although
absolutely.
someone might present 100 problems, third of them might all be down to that root cause. I keep doing that with my hands, and it's not in camera. um, but but so, and that's what's amazing. And then that's when they start uncovering things that they didn't realise they needed to uncover, and they go, "Oh my god, is that why?" Yeah.
Yeah,
And what I love about it, well, I love many things about it, but is when between the ages of 0 and 7, that's when most of our beliefs are created, but our minds don't have logic then. So as children, we make decisions and then we spend our adult life living on them, right? But
yes,
I don't
yeah.
like that bit because that's quite scary. But the beauty of it is that once you go and find it, you free yourself from it. And that's when you can start making all the changes that you want in your life. Because a belief is just something you believe, right? So if you believe that you're
Yeah,
not good, then start believing that you're amazing. Now you can do that yourself by doing affirmations and all of that, but it's a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication, and that's what people forget to do because you
yeah,
just go back. So when you're consciously saying all that stuff, that's brilliant. But as soon as you if you consciously going, oh my god, I'm amazing, I'm gorgeous, I'm this, right? That's all well and good. But as soon as you stop consciously saying it and thinking about it, it'll go right back to your subconscious mind.
yeah,
And if your subconscious mind thinks that you're not, you're not good enough and you're ugly, then that's
yeah,
what you'll carry on believing. And you've got to keep
yeah.
pulling yourself out of it all of the time. So you
It's
do need to
tiring.
change what they are. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exhausting.
absolutely. But I mean, therapy is fantastic. I would recommend it to absolutely everybody. Even if you think everything's amazing in your life, there's always something that you can change or better
Mm,
or advance. And going back to that whole kind of self-affirmation thing, I'm so lucky now that I have such a supportive partner. My kids, nearly 17 and 12, but even they, I'll come in dressed for work. Oh, you look really nice today, mum. And I'm like, oh, thanks. And they're two boys. So for them to even notice what I'm wearing is, pretty
really
decent.
notice your period, really. Who's that woman? Oh, that's my
Yeah,
mum.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. My parents big up everything I do, and I've stopped myself now many, many times for saying, oh, why do I deserve this? Oh, I'm not good enough for that. It's now at the point where I'm saying, no, you don't need to ask that anymore because you are good enough and you do deserve it. And you have managed to make these things happen. And I should be
Mm,
proud of what I've done. And
mm,
I don't want to come across as arrogant as saying that, but I've worked so hard and
mm.
it's so nice to be out of that mindset for the first time in 42 years.
Oh, well
What
done.
a life changer.
Yeah, it is. It is a game changer. And well done for knowing that and saying it out loud now, because now you've just said it out into the social media world now, right? So you can't take that back now. But you touch on a really good point because some of the things I teach my clients is everything is around the language, right? The language of what we tell ourselves. Like, so you just described it perfectly how you should talk to yourself, but most of us don't, right?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm never going to be able to do that. Oh, I'm rubbish. Oh, I'm just going to make a fool of myself. What is everyone going to think about me? And we know being business owner, I know you're not quite a business owner, but you're in that world, right? But
yeah,
social media, for example, oh my God, it's the worst thing since sliced bread, right? But you have to get over yourself and you have to put yourself out there because if you don't, how else are you going to move forward?
exactly. And I
So,
think once you start realizing I don't have to please everyone all the time, you also feel that kind of release and that kind of, it's not that you don't care, but I can't please everyone. Not everyone's going to like me, and that's fine.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. And it's all about doing that inner work, isn't it? To love yourself
Yeah.
first. Because if you love who you are, then it doesn't matter so much. I mean, don't get me wrong, you don't want everyone hating you. But the fact of the matter is, they're not going to hate you anyway. Because if you're projecting out love, happiness, fun, and all, you're on that high vibration, people are going to be attracted to that anyway. And the
Yeah,
people that
definitely.
are not attracted to that will give you a wide berth because they will be repelled by that high energy, that high vibe. So that's fine because we are what we attract, right?
Oh,
What
definitely.
we give out, we attract back. So if we're going around, like, you would know the difference for when you was in your depressed state. You probably would have been using language like "oh God," and the whole demeanour would have been like that. I hate everything. I
Yeah,
hate you. I hate the
absolutely.
world. Right? And what would you have got? You would have got more of that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's, and I think learning to say no, as well. I think a lot of people, and maybe you find this a lot with your clients, they feel like they need to be pleasing everybody all the time and they don't put themselves first. And
Absolutely.
I used to be a lot like that, a real sort of empath. And I still am. But again, I think it gets to a point in your life where you go, enough is enough.
Mm.
And not in a selfish way, but I need to put myself first because if I'm not in a good place, how can I possibly help anybody else?
And
You know,
I see that a lot, and especially with people who have got children, whether it's young children or even grown up children who've got their own children. It's all about having boundaries
yes.
and putting yourself first because otherwise that's what happens. Everybody just eats into you and then you don't know who you are. A bit like you were saying earlier, really. You didn't know who you was, you didn't know who you wanted to be because you're too in the middle of everybody else's stuff. And
Yeah,
then people
you're
take advantage of you then, don't they?
exactly. You're the mum, you're the businesswoman, you're the wife, you're the this, but you're not Lauren. Yeah, and
Mm,
I felt like that a lot back in the past. And I've made some really, really tough choices in the past. My kid's dad and I, we were together for 8 years. It didn't work out. And I chose to leave, but I chose to leave him and the kids, because I wasn't in a good place myself. And if I couldn't look after myself, how can I look after two young children? They were 1.5 and 5. I still regret it. No, I don't regret it. I still live with the guilt of doing
mm,
that every day. But then I say to myself, well, if you hadn't have done that, you may not have even been here to be with
no,
the kids now. And I obviously I saw them, sort of once a week or whenever I could mentally, but it was that quality of the time and not the quantity of the time that was important. I mean, that lasted a yearish maybe, and I was quite young. But now, everything's great. We've got the shared custody. It's been like that for years and years and years. And, I love being there and having time with the kids. But it's something I've got to live with myself. That
mm,
tough decision, I've got to put myself forward so I can be there for the kids.
mm. Exactly. And if you end up, and this is what I teach all my clients, and in my group program, my whole group program is all about putting ourselves first. I'm telling them the importance of doing that and showing them what happens when you don't. Because if we don't, if we've
Yeah,
got, if our cup's continually half empty or empty, how can
yeah,
we be who we need to be to support other people? And then when you continue to ignore what's going on because you're too busy, then you wonder why you get hit with this illness or
oh, absolutely.
whether
It's
it's physical or
detrimental. It
psychological.
really is.
Yeah, yeah,
And I didn't want my kids to suffer seeing me like that, and it was the hardest decision I've ever had to make of my life. But again, that has kind of helped shape me who I am today. And, I don't regret doing it. I just feel guilty for doing it.
yeah. Well, like we said, you can't take it back, can you? It is what it
No,
is, and it's about
exactly.
freeing yourself from that guilt, and doing what you can, which you are, aren't you, to spend time with them and be the best mum that you can be.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no guidebook, is there? That's the
No,
problem. And the
no.
thing is, if you've lived in, and again, I don't know, just for the record, I don't know Lauren's past. So I'm just saying this generally. But what happens is we live our lives on learnt behaviour and the beliefs, right? And those beliefs are not necessarily our beliefs; they're the beliefs that we've been thrust at us. But everything's learnt behaviour, right? So if you lived in an environment, if it wasn't nice, for example, and maybe your dad was always angry, maybe your mum was always in tears because dad was always angry, saying horrible things. Dad left, dad come back, whatever, and you've got that unstable life, then of course you're going to pick up on things like, well, maybe my dad left because it was my fault.
Mm.
Or maybe if I'd been better and I wasn't so naughty, they wouldn't have been out. And as a
Yeah,
young child with that logic, all right, there might be an element of that, of course, but it's not their fault. It's and I get this all the time with my clients. They're like, a scene will come up. We'll go back in time in a subconscious mind, and they'll come up with a scene, and it'll be, oh, I was 2 years old. I was crying. It was my responsibility to look after my mum. And then,
yeah,
and afterwards you're going, it's not. You were two. That's
yeah,
not your
exactly.
fault.
Yeah, yeah.
But they created the belief that it was their fault.
Mine was always, I think, just that I'm not good enough and, oversensitive and this, that, and the other. And so I had a very fractious relationship with my mum growing up. I actually left home when I was 14, moved in with a guy. That was a very abusive relationship, mentally and physically. Then I met my boy's dad. He was a lot older than me. I mean, obviously, lots of things go on in between this and whatever else. And that wasn't a great relationship. It had its up times, obviously. But I left that relationship feeling very deflated. Then I had a year to kind of sort myself out a bit. Got together with my ex-husband, also very antagonistic, constant, belittlement, not supportive, wasn't my cheerleader, didn't get on with my kids particularly well. So yeah, I went through most of my life thinking, well, it must be me because everyone I've been with has treated me this way, so it must be me. My mum and I now, we have an amazing relationship, and we've talked through stuff together, and her and my dad are my biggest supporters. They've just celebrated 48 years of marriage, and hopefully, my new man, Trev, is the one, and he's the one I wanted. He's the one I've been looking for, and I still kind of pinch myself every now and again and think, is this real? Have I really met somebody like this that I wanted to find? I know it sounds slushy, but every day he's like, you go out there and get those sales today, girl. I'm proud of you and well done on this and well done on that. And it's so nice to have that appreciation and that support from people who you spend the majority of your time with. Because let's face it, your friends can say it or your colleagues. It's the people that have directly affected your life, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, it is important. I mean, it is important. It's not, I mean, like we said earlier, it's important that we appreciate and love ourselves first, but it doesn't help having, it does help having more and more of it.
Yeah.
I was at an event recently. It was a reunion from my corporate world days.
Yeah.
It was hilarious because it was such a brilliant turnout, but people have aged. I mean, some people we haven't seen each other maybe for 20 years, 30 years,
Wow.
And everyone's like looking at everyone going, I know you. We should have had name badges, really.
Yeah.
But what was interesting, so many of them were like, oh my God, Julie, I see you on all the social medias you do. So I'm so proud of you. You're just, oh my God, I can't believe you've done this. And I'm like, what, you all see that? Because it made me like, thank God, all this work is paying off. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Why don't you like it for me then? Can you like it and can you share it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was bullied so much at school. School was awful for me. And I would love, for those bullies to see me now and sort of go, yeah, well, she's doing all right.
You know what, though, about bullies, though, what you have to, anyone that's been bullied, and I'm not condoning it at all because I think it's disgusting, but what you have to think about is
Why?
what's going on in their life that they need, what's missing in their life that they really need to just really, bully you and just pity
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I know. I
It's
think as a kid,
difficult,
though,
isn't
it's
it?
difficult to do that, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, or even as an adult. But
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and it's
Although
what sadness have they got?
I know, I know. I mean, I always thought, oh, I'd like to go into counselling or this, that, or the other. And I was, believe it, I was an assistant paramedic for about 2 years. Went to a lot of mental health patients. But it's too close to home for me. It's not something that I think I would just get too involved and not want to sort of leave them and things. And I think that's something I admire about what you do, because you get to that point, where the client, I mean, obviously your journey is never really finished. We all know that because life evolves and,
Of course.
carries on. But there might be a point where the client says, okay, I feel like I can go this alone now. And you kind of feel a bit like, oh, I'm so pleased, but oh,
Yeah, surely you want to carry on working on this. No, it's true actually. True and not true in a sense that because when I was doing talking therapy years ago, I needed it as a volunteer in the end because I was still working in the corporate world. But
yeah, sure.
I had clients for like a year or something like that, right? And that's a long time, isn't it, to
Yeah,
have,
yeah,
see them every week and everything else. Even longer sometimes. Sometimes they would go and then they might come back. But
yeah,
because I worked for an organisation as well, I didn't have any of their contact details and things like that. So it's not like how I work now.
yeah,
But
sure.
what's kind of fundamentally different for me now is mostly sometimes I've got a couple of longer term ones because they just want to keep digging deeper and digging
Yeah,
deeper. A lot of the
absolutely.
time, I might only be with them a short while because they get such a quick, it might be in a month. When we do one deep dive session, say they just want to resolve one issue, which might be anxiety or something like that. We do that. We do a little bit of coaching. It might be like a 5 or 6 week program, but
Yeah,
they're done. They're like, I'm away now, and
yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay. When I do the follow up session at the end of it, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, I know they probably could do with this, this, and this still, and they
yeah,
go, oh my god, Julie, I'm done. Thank you, and then I'm like, oh, okay then.
yeah. Bye.
But some of them do come back later. Some of them don't. Some of them might still. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but sometimes they feel that's enough. If that's what's holding them back at that time, they need to go and live with that for a little while, and then they come back later and go, do you know what? There's something else I want to come and work on, and that's fine
yeah,
too.
sure.
So
Yeah,
I don't feel that as much. And then if I'm really really lucky, they do me a video testimonial, which incidentally are all up on my YouTube channel, Millieside Therapy and Coaching. And then I get like, if I'm ever having a little bit of a down moment or oh God, like sometimes there's so much other crap you have to do to be able to
absolutely.
play
Yeah,
rides. I just play one of them,
yeah, yeah.
and I'm like, that's why I do what I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
It's nice. I get the same kind of thing, I guess. With work, we have a monthly newsletter that goes out, and they sort of do a mention of each of the departments, and I frequently get mentioned of how well I'm doing in there, and that's really nice to have that kind of, as you say, if you think, oh, I'm not doing well at work today, you go back and read what others have said about you, and you think, yeah, I'm not doing too badly
It's
after
all
all.
right, and you can pick yourself up really quickly, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure.
And I think that's important. And that you said something earlier actually that I meant to mention, and we kind of got onto something else, but about you said something along the lines about sharing like your successes because before you wouldn't have done that, and I 100% agree with that. I would never have done that either because it would have been ugh, that's
Yeah,
disgusting. Or if there was someone at work or something that went, oh no, look what I've just done. You go, you twat. Who do you think you
yeah,
are?
exactly. Shut up.
Go away, you annoying person.
Yeah,
But actually, you're the one that's in the wrong. They're the ones that are in the right because that's
absolutely.
what we
Yeah,
should be doing, and that's what we don't do much of.
yeah,
And this is why it's good to hang out with people, like-minded people, isn't it? Who appreciate what you do.
definitely.
You've got the same sort of goals, and you congratulate each other. You push each other forward. I had a friend of mine come into someone I knew from the corporate world who somehow come back into my life ad hoc, and met her at an event as well, actually.
Oh, nice.
And we've reconnected, and I can't remember why I said that now. It's gone out of my head. It's a really good point as well. I just got out of my head. But
we
I know what it was. Like, we come round and we were doing some bits and bobs for each other, and then I just sat and I said, well, she's got an event coming up, and I said, well, let's have a look at your social media. And I went, well, no wonder you're not getting any, because you're not telling them what. And we
yeah,
just spent 10 minutes, and she went, oh my god, right, I'm going to go and do that now. So you just help each other and get yourself out of situations, or share your knowledge. If you've got a bit of knowledge, just share it, right?
yeah, absolutely. And I think people, again, I don't know if it's an age thing. I think it's something as you get older, you kind of feel more comfortable in sharing
Mm.
experiences and
Okay.
not experience, what's the word, stories, advice, and
Mm.
you're old enough to kind of take it back as well, as opposed to kind of thinking, oh well, I'm being criticized, or I'm being told what to
Yeah,
do, or whatever.
yeah,
You don't look at it that way anymore. And I think, you know not age, but just maturity levels, I guess,
yeah.
can
I
help
think so.
with that.
And also, when you have worked on yourself, you're you're going to be better at that anyway, because when we get triggered, when someone says something to us, it's not us as we are today, it's you being like an 8-year-old or something, and it's going
Yeah,
straight back down your neuro pathway and going reacting when you stood in front of the class and the teacher told you off or something like that. When
yeah. And
you know
people don't realize that. And that
no.
is why therapy and coaching is so important.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm lucky that I've got such a good understanding of it and that I can reach back and relate to things. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't, continue with it. Just because
mm.
everything is great in my life at the moment doesn't mean that there's not more work to do.
And that's a good point. And it's about taking time out for yourself as well, and dedicating that time for you every day where you do something for you, whether it is a meditation, whether it's doing your exercise, whether it's eating. Sorry, I'm going to reframe that. You need to be eating healthily, doing some exercise, doing some meditation or something like that, so that you are being kind to the whole of your body, and
Yes.
then you're going to stay in the place that you are. If you get to the point where you get too cocky about it and complacent, and then suddenly you go, and you'll look back and you go, oh, why has that happened? Oh, I know. I've been eating terrible. I haven't been
Yeah.
exercising. I haven't been
Yeah.
taking time out for myself, right? It's not something that we just do every now and again when we remember. It has to become part of our daily life. And as I
Absolutely.
say to people, it's self-care is not an option, it's mandatory if you
Yeah.
want to live a nice, healthy life.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
used
what
to I
we
used
take
to do a
time.
lot more than I could. And now I, again, have sort of taken a back seat. I thought, actually, no, I need to take that time to just do nothing that day, especially with the fibro, because the brain fog and the pain and things. And I've really made a point of not trying to do everything that everyone wants me to do. I'm just doing the things that need doing. And then actually, you know what? I'm going to go and have a bath now and spend, half an hour reading my
Mm.
book.
Interesting though, because I had done a lot of those type of illnesses, like autoimmune diseases, and lot of body conditions, Crohn's disease. I even
Yeah.
had a baby actually, my first baby, because a lot of that is trapped trauma,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and we could
All goes
probably.
hand in hand.
But anyway, on that note, on that bombshell, we're going to wrap up now, my lovely. It's been such a pleasure having you here. But I just want to give you a moment or two just to share what you want to share about your business, how people can find you, what you've got coming up, anything like that.
Amazing, thank you. So, yeah, as obviously I said, I'm new business development lead for the newspapers in South and North Essex. I have a campaign called Love Local Business. So, if you are a local independent business and would like to get involved, there will be a link to my Love Local page. Hopefully, that you'll be able to see on Facebook, and it is basically simply the newspaper supporting businesses, and in return you support us by subscribing to the newspaper. is very, very minimal cost involved. And, you know, it is the way for businesses to get together and promote each other and support each other, which is really important to me. That's one side of things. And then also anybody out there that may have a outlet for Essex Life magazine, or of course this reaches Kent and Sussex as well. If you feel that it's something you might like to gift your clients, or you might want to resell, again, please do reach out on the channels that are going to be linked, or social links. By all means. And yeah, you know, I just want to build up relationships and work with lots of different people, basically. And yeah, of course it's about the sales, but it is about building up those relationships and those connections. You know, Julie and I met at one of these networking events, and things have gone brilliantly. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me and how hopefully I can help you guys out.
And what we'll do is when we've finished on here, I'll get you to give me a link then, and we can put that underneath the post as well. Brilliant, thank you.
Thank
So
you.
for me, I work with my clients on a one-to-one, but I've also got an amazing group program if anyone wants to come and join that. But also, in addition to that, at the moment it's every Tuesday at 12:30. I've got a free live show called Ground, Learn and Connect. Each week we have something different, but it's all around health and well-being. Sometimes I have a guest on and we share whatever it is they do, but around the health and well-being space. As I say, it's free, and at the moment it's every Tuesday at 12:30. I say at the moment because who knows, might change. I don't know. It's quite early doors, so I'm just trying to see if it helps. But what I wanted to do was to create space for people to spend at least 1 hour a week on themselves. And what we do in the grounding bit, we do a little bit of grounding, then we do the education, and then we might do another meditation or connection with a group. It's about building up the community and building up the Facebook group, just with like-minded people really, who feel that they need to start looking after themselves. So that's all about me. But you can find me in all my social medias, Millieside Therapy and Coaching, apart from Instagram, which is Julie Millieside. But yeah. So thank you so much, Lauren. It's been an absolute pleasure. And if anyone's got
Thank you
any
for having me.
questions, please put them in the comments or DM either of us, depending on what it is, and we'll drop the link in for you, where you can contact Lauren with the subscriptions. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on my Unstoppable series.